After 52 women have accused Bill Cosby of sexual assault or unwanted touching, a Pennsylvania prosecutor this week bringing charges in a 2004 case involving Andrea Constand. She says Cosby drugged her and had sex with her after she passed out. The once beloved comedian admits to giving Constand little blue pills, but says the sexual contact was consensual, and his lawyer took a swipe at the coverage.
A court of law doesn't run like the media does, for example, in that any person who has a picture or a story or something that they'd like to say, if they're saying it about the right person, and Bill Cosby is the right person to say something about, then they can air that grievance and have been doing so for the past year.
Liasson, the New York Daily News ran a cover that said he said, she said, she said, she said, she said, and on, kind of capturing the media attitude that Cosby's a serial predator. But many accounts don't stop to note that all these other women who have made these accusations of Cosby, that may not be admitted as evidence in the Pennsylvania case.
When you just look at the coverage, there's been tremendous coverage of Bill Cosby and all these accusations from women. But when then you read the one article out of 20 that talks about the actual legal stakes in this and how hard it's going to be for the prosecutor to prove this, both sides are going to have trouble. But don't forget, there was a prosecutor who I think lost his job in Pennsylvania because he didn't press this case.
You set me up for the next question for AB. No, I'm glad you did, because the former prosecutor, Bruce Castor, who was the DA in that county in Pennsylvania, didn't bring charges, and the incoming DA, Kevin Steele, ran against him, making this an issue. So, yet the media kind of framing this, and I'm not a Cosby defender here, this is a lot of women making these allegations, the pattern is unmistakable, but framing this as a case of righteous justice as opposed to politics, where a prosecutor ran on this issue and suddenly brings the charges.
Right. What's going on with a campaign pledge by Mr. Steele and him bringing it before the window closes for him to do so is going to be lost in the noise of the fact that he has been indicted by the media, that 7 months ago New York Magazine ran 35 women on their cover with one empty chair. This is seen not as a case with Andrea Constand against Bill Cosby, but of all the 52 women against Bill Cosby. And that's the way his career is over. It is going to be legally a challenging case to bring against him and succeeded, but you know, he admitted in a deposition years ago that he gave pills. All the stories almost match. Yes, it's been decided what he did was wrong, and you have too many victims, even if they're not all. They're not all in the courtroom at the same time in the same case. I just think it's already, you know, the media has indicted him, and his career
his career has been
how he'll be remembered.
Whether he'll be convicted or not is a legal matter, and it may be different. But interesting sidelight, Jim Garrity. New York Post columnist Andrea Pizer writing, Cosby being crucified for being conservative, and it is true that some don't like the fact that in his career he has lectured blacks on self-reliance and proper language and that stuff, but really wasn't it the power of these more than 50 women stepping into the media spotlight more important than his ideological views?
Yeah, I have a hard time buying this is all driven by some vast ideological. This is the equivalent of the vast right-wing conspiracy claim from Hillary. As you're saying about the complaint that's being tried in the media, when this entire process began, before the first accuser came forward, you know, yes, he had some gripes about what he had said about the black community. But by and large, Bill Cosby was still a beloved figure. Absolutely. He was still Cliff Huxtable, kind of the national father. So the idea that everyone came into this quick to turn on him and not willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, look, you know, he's no longer being accused by individuals. He's being accused by a demographic.
Absolutely. And, you know, the media for so many years, with few exceptions, really let Cosby get away with this. These allegations have been out there from some of the women. Others came forward after this became a big issue in the past year. And I think nobody wanted to take on the iconic father figure, beloved comedian, Cliff Huxtable, as you say. And I think that was not the media's finest hour. All right, Liasson, Jim Garrity, A.B. Stoddard, thanks for an interesting conversation this Sunday.